It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
What's going on, Lake of the Ozarks? William Holtz, Chris Schneider, and it is time for a cup of coffee. Another epic show we're getting ready for. Empty cup does never stops this guy from
Hollywood, baby, Hollywood.
That's awesome. Man, so much going on. Chiefs in trouble because my Bills are for real. We'll talk about that. Indians and the Lakers are going to be looking to get back on track after dropping their games on Friday. We also have a big Friday night game of the week on Lake TV. We'll talk about that. Black bear hunting season starts next week, so you got to get ready for that. We'll tell you all the things you need to know about that. Also, Camden Band takes home some big-time honors over the weekend. They were in Iowa. That was huge. And also, Lake Regional Health System officially has an interim CEO. We'll tell you about that and their plans for their nationwide search for their long-term CEO. And then Lake Ozark Board of Aldermen, they have announced the plans for their new city administrator to replace Dave Van D as he's set to retire.
That was a big deal.
That was a huge deal. So we have so many things to tell you. But I'm still on cloud nine after that Bills game, baby. Big time.
Why didn't you wear your Bills jersey today?
Don't want to get beat up by this guy because he picked the Chiefs in Pick'em. Nearly went perfect this week. You, me, and Andrew. Ricky, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But first, we got to tell you about our friends right here at Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey guys, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. Still standing here inside our new Sleep Solutions gallery. You know, there's so much more to a good night's sleep than just a mattress or a pillow. Come here, Slumberland Sleep Solution Gallery, check it out. We've made mattress buying easy. We have our trained professionals to assist you, and we've got some great deals. Come see us, Slumberland, where we're bringing happy home.
Yeah, you got to come down and see Daryl and all the crew here at Slumberland. They're scheduled to deliver my new bed with my new adjustable base, my Tempur-Pedic mattress. Man, I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. Of course, the new sectional. That will be a little more enjoyable.
We won't be able to get you out of bed in the morning with that new bed, man.
Hopefully not. So next week you might be flying solo.
Just me. Yeah.
All right, so officially, Chris, our first local story of the week, Lake Ozark names new city administrator as successor to Van D. And, you know, we talked about this over the last couple of months. It was a pretty hot topic issue as far as those being the Board of Aldermen. They wanted Harrison Fry, who has been there for about a year. He got hired after the search for $22,000 was concluded, and they landed on Harrison Fry, but he's young. He doesn't quite have the experience, and so longtime city administrator Dave Van D, he's set to retire this month, and the Board of Aldermen kind of thought that was going to be Harrison's job. However, newly elected Mayor Newberry of the city of Lake Ozark, Dennis Newberry, he thought they should be more diligent, and he ended up doing that, opening a search, and they have settled on a man by the name of David Mitchum. And that name may not sound familiar. Got to tell you first, the decision was made by a board of 7 individuals, or a committee that was compiled of 7 local residents or business owners and 2 board of aldermen. They voted 8-1 in favor of Mitchum. Now, here's what's really cool. All 9 people on the committee thought it was very important that Harrison Fry was still very heavily involved, and that is exactly the case. So Mitchum has an impressive resume. He was the city manager for many years in Pagosa Springs, which is in Colorado. It's a tourism town, very similar to Lake of the Ozarks as far as some of the issues economically they were facing, and I heard some good things about what he did there. And then, of course, here's what's really impressive. He was in upper management for a handful of years with the Missouri Department of Economic Development at the state level. So he knows as far as running a budget, economic development, things of those nature.
And knows Missouri, knows the area, all that stuff. That's good.
Huge. And the experience. And the thing is, he only wants to do this for 2 years. And so there is an understanding in place that Harrison Fry is going to stay there. Harrison Fry, the assistant city administrator and the director of economic development for the city of Lake Ozark, he is going to continue to learn from this Board of Aldermen and David Mitchum for about 2 years, and then at that time Mitchum's going to retire, and it should be a perfect time with 2 more years experience for Harrison Fry that he would be able to slide into that position, and that would be kind of a win-win for everybody involved.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking. It kind of sounds like this all worked out for everybody. Some of the aldermen weren't too happy about Fry not taking over because they spent $22,000 to find him, a while back. The new mayor's going, well, hold on now. Is he ready for this? Let's make sure there's not a more qualified person. There was a more qualified person, but he doesn't want to be here for too long, so they might be able to hand it over. So it almost sounds like this worked out perfectly. I'm really happy for the mayor that, again, when you come in as a mayor and you're trying to put things in place, you want to make sure the people that are doing things think the same way you think things.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's able to do that.
Yeah, so it's a win-win. The $22,000 spent to find Harrison didn't get wasted. He's still around. He still looks like he may be the future city administrator for the city of Lake Ozark. And in the meantime, we have somebody who brings a packed resume as far as their experience and what they've done. And so that's going to be a really good thing. And we'll see over the next couple of years how that all shakes out.
I'm going to open another can of worms here, but $22,000 to find Harrison Fry, that sounds like ridiculous.
600 is
$600
what it
to
cost
find the new guy, right?
David,
yeah.
And that was under the old former mayor and under Van D's watch as city administrator. And so those decisions don't exactly add up as far as does it make fiscal sense? Is it right for our constituents and the taxpayers? But I'll tell you, Mayor Newberry, that's his number one concern. And I say he wins here. He did quote and say there's a huge win for everybody involved, for the Board of Aldermen, for Harrison Fry, for myself. This guy's charismatic, but most importantly, there's a big win for the city of Lake Ozark.
Yeah.
So that's what Mayor Newberry told us. This was all discussed and announced at Tuesday night's Lake Ozark Board of Aldermen meeting in Lake Ozark, of course. So going to be some things that are going to be shaken up as this guy starts. I do believe this month is when Van D is set to retire, so it'll be soon when Mitchum, he's going to get thrown right into the fire. He'll start almost immediately. So that's our new city administrator.
Are you going to run for mayor when what's his name, Newberry steps down?
Maybe in Sunrise Beach. I live in Sunrise Beach. I couldn't run for any office. All right, so another story, Lake Regional. We told you, CEO Dane Henry, he has accepted a position in Atlanta, and he has resigned. His resignation will be effective in January, early January of 2022. So in the meantime, they're going to open up a nationwide search for the next CEO of Lake Regional Health Systems. But for now, they had to name an interim, and they did land on a guy who is currently with Lake Regional.
Yeah, Kevin McRoberts is the interim chief executive officer. He will be the leader of the search for his replacement, basically, a nationwide search. Dane Henry is leaving. Of course, there's been a lot of controversy with Lake Regional this year over COVID stuff. They put out that public letter a few months ago. They had 22 deaths in 23 days, and they're trying to explain that. There was, a section in there where they said sometimes all we can do is comfort them. And then a couple paragraphs later, they said, but we will not use, hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin, and that blew up in the community. So there is a big question of, is the hospital, are they just following the national line? Is it pushed by politics, or are they really here to help the community? And I think that's what the whole uproar was a couple of months ago. I don't know if that's why Dane Henry is leaving or not, but I think as a community, we want to make sure the people leading the hospital are thinking for the community and not just pushed by national politics.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some questions surrounding Dane Henry, and one of those being, you've been our CEO since September of 2017, but your family still lives in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You're not living down in our community. You're not spending money here. I mean, you're flying back home, and, I don't think the community ever felt like they could trust this guy. And, this board of directors, and the chairman of the board is Jim Judas. He's also the president of Central Bank. And his quote as far as this, Jim Judas, the board has great confidence in Kevin and our executive leadership team. Great things are happening at Lake Regional. We want to maintain this team's momentum. This transition strategy allows Kevin and Dane to begin working now to ensure continuity into the new year and sustained focus on our key initiatives. Judas believes that McRoberts will be able to step up to the challenge and continue to have success at the new position. The board is grateful to Kevin for stepping into this interim role while we conduct the CEO search. Judas says he's demonstrated leadership and operations and will continue to have an important role in shaping market growth, including construction of our new Lebanon campus throughout our CEO search and after our new leader is announced. Now, McRoberts has been at Lake Regional since 2000.
Yep.
Not only is he the COO currently, he's the executive vice president, and January 3rd is when Dane Henry is set to resign, so he will take over. Now, it's understood McRoberts, once this CEO is found, he will slide back into his regular position, which is where he wants to be and should be. And, you know, Chris, this is a job that should get some amazing candidates. I mean, you could almost go out and get anybody you want because Lake of the Ozarks is in paradise. You know, this is a great place, and this is one of the best jobs in the area. So, and there's no shortage of money for what they pay their CEO. So they should be able to handpick just about anybody they want. The question is, are they going to get somebody that does have Lake of the Ozarks and our residents in the best interest?
Yeah.
And so that is a question that we'll find out. But for now, Kevin McRoberts is slated to be the interim CEO for Lake Regional starting January 3rd. And between now and then, it'll give him and Dane Henry time to work together. And so McRoberts is prepared to step in on the 3rd.
And keep in mind, the board of directors, led by Jim Judas, make the decision of who to hire, right? And again, as a local community, the hospital serves the community. Maybe it's privately owned. So, you know, if you're privately owned, you can do pretty much what you want to do. But it's also a business, and if the local people don't feel comfortable with the way Lake Regional is being run or the way they operate, then it's going to hurt that business, you would think, but it's also going to hurt the community.
That's just it.
So the community needs to, and that's what we're trying to do, is just make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Right.
The community needs to let the hospital know what they want too, though, you know, I mean, because they do serve the community.
Yeah, and there is a huge lack of trust within our community and Lake Regional. And just as far as the PR and the imaging goes for Lake Regional right now in the Lake area, I mean, it had improved a little bit early on in Dane's tenure, and then quickly, you know, people are flocking out of the lake to get medical care.
Well, and then, you know, I mean, I've had guests on the Spotlight show and whatnot that say they will not go to Lake Regional. They go to Columbia or to Jeff or something like that because they don't really trust Lake Regional. That's sad, is what that is, that you don't trust your own local hospital to go, you know, that you'll travel out of town instead of stay local.
Right. So we'll keep you posted. McRoberts, Kevin McRoberts, set to start January 3rd, 2022, and he will be getting prepared for that with Dane as the year progresses. All right, next story. This one's pretty cool. Camdenton Band, they cleaned up this weekend in Iowa at the 2021 Bands of America Iowa Regional Championship, and not only did they win first overall, they took home some other pretty impressive accolades.
Yeah, they did. They won Outstanding Music Performance, Outstanding Visual Performance, Outstanding General Effects, finished #1 overall, and they beat some big schools.
Yeah.
A lot of those schools were from the Omaha area. This was in Cedar Falls, Iowa, the finals, so a lot of schools from Iowa there. In Nebraska and whatnot, but what a huge victory for the Camdenton Band. Man, how about that?
Yeah, pretty awesome. Of course, these photos we showed you, those were courtesy of the Camdenton Band's Facebook page. So good work. You see all that hardware?
Yeah.
That is impressive.
Wow.
So a good weekend for Camdenton. In other news, we've told you this is coming, and it is officially starting next Monday, but black bear hunting season kicks off Monday the 18th.
And you don't want to just play dead. We learned that,
you
right?
You don't want to just play dead, but okay. So here are some things you have to know if you wanted to be able to hunt or try to bag a bear. You would have had to apply from May 1st to May 31st.
So you can't apply now?
No, it's already been closed to get your permit. That was announced on July. So starts the third Monday in October, which is the 18th, and it will run through 10 days, which will be the 27th, or until the zone-specific quota is reached. So the bear management zone-specific quotas are established annually. And if you're asking yourself, Chris, what are bear management zones?
That's what I'm asking
zones.
myself.
Well, it is made up of the area. Now, the bears are commonly seen along and south of I-44. So in southern Missouri, there are 3 bear management zones. Bear Management Zone 1 is the very bottom of the state, and their quota is 20, in a very small area. So they must be very prevalent down there in the never eat shredded southwestern part of the state.
Pretty prevalent up here a few months ago. Remember all those bear sightings we had up here?
And we don't know how many of those were the same bears, but to start seeing them in this area is because they're starting to migrate this way. And what's crazy is historically, black bears have been incredibly abundant in Missouri prior to European settlement, especially in the Ozarks. But over the last 50 years, because of large-scale habitat changes and unregulated harvest, they had dwindled, and they were nearly gone from this area. You wouldn't say extinct, but they were not seen, especially in the Ozarks. However, from 2010 to 2021, the population of black bears in Missouri has went from 350 to 850. And so they're allowing a total of 40 bears to be harvested. Of course, I told you about the first zone, 20, the second zone, which is more Springfield, that's 15, and then the third bear management zone, which is the Lake of the Ozarks and the Truman Reservoir area, are allowing 5 in this area. So, and you can only harvest 1. Of course, you have to have a tag. One other thing, permits would have cost you $25. You have to be a Missouri resident, and 10% of the permits that were given out were randomly awarded to landowners. And if you did happen to get a permit, keep in mind, you have to call the Missouri Department of Conservation every morning before you go hunting to find out if that quota has been hit. Because if it has been hit and you went out and you harvested, you're in big trouble because you've run over. So that's pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know how many people ended up getting a permit. Of course, it's closed. But for those 10 days starting Monday, it's going to be legal to kill the bears. Now, you got to know you can only use archery or you can use firearms. No bait and no dogs are allowed. And they said, however, that may change depending on the population over the next couple of years.
And you don't want to go as a black bear for Halloween.
No, you do not want to dress up like a black bear for Halloween.
Right.
Well, there's a couple people I might send out in a black bear costume for Halloween, but that's not here nor there. Okay, so we're going to move on from lake headlines to sports and national. Man, I'll tell you what a start for local teams in the area. Now, of course, Osage has struggled a little bit. They've lost 5 in a row. They fell against Southern Boone, 42-29. And the big one that we were both really excited to see, Camdenton, they went into Lebanon. They were 5-1. Lebanon undefeated at 6-0. And, man, Lebanon kind of stuck it to them, 33-14.
Yeah, kind of a game of two halves because actually Camdenton led at halftime, 7-6. And then Lebanon came alive in the second half, kind of pulled away and won fairly easily. What was the final, like 28-7 or something like that?
33-14.
33-14. So, but I'm telling you what, that Lebanon team is really good.
For real.
They're ranked 4th in the state right now in Class 5, which would put them in the Final Four if they can live up to that. And but Camden's still a good team. I talked with Coach Jeff Shore this week for Lake TV's Coaches Show, which you can see Tuesdays through Fridays at 10, 2, and 6. But he said, hey, we're a young team. We're learning from these losses. It just makes us better. Would you love to hear that from your coach?
Oh, heck yeah.
They got a big game again this week against 5-1 Glendale. And Glendale, Lebanon, Rolla, all in Camdenton's district. So they'll see them in the playoffs possibly here in a few weeks as well.
Yeah, they need to win that one at Glendale, no doubt about it. Okay. Talking about high school football, Osage, they'll be at Versailles this Friday. Both teams 2-5. That'll be Lake TV's game of the week.
That's our game of the week, baby.
Our Central Ozarks Medical Center pregame show will hit the air at 6:30. So you're going to want to tune in to see a revamped and very much improved Versailles team. We had them a few weeks ago at California, and they very nearly won that game.
Yeah, California scored in the final minute to pull out a win, and that's a good California team too. And I tell you what, the new coach at Versailles this year, former starting quarterback at Mizzou, Warren Seitz, he is a good coach. And he's got those guys playing great. And they got some good young talent. They got a freshman receiver that's just going to be a superstar. This is pretty exciting stuff. Osage will probably be a slight favorite to win this, but that ought to be a great game Friday night.
Yeah, and as you said, not only that a big game, but that Glendale-Camdenton game, that's big. If Camdenton can win that, that'll put them right in the thick of things. But if they drop that, that'll be 2 in a row, and they'll fall to 5-3. So that's a huge one. Of course, you can get score updates during our games. Jonah should be checking scores for us instead of doing graphics, so we'll have him on that during Friday's game.
Well, in that Glendale-Camdenton game, Coach Orr was telling me both teams play the same way. They have very fast, high-powered throwing offenses. They could score over 100 points in that game.
That'll be a big one. All right, so Bills at Kansas City. Oh,
you're a happy boy.
My goodness.
Wow.
Did Buffalo come into Arrowhead and just have their way with the Chiefs? My goodness. 38-20, the route was on. The Buffalo Bills are for real. Josh Allen was 15 for 26, only needed to complete 15 passes, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, no interceptions, well, none that stood after a roughing the passer call. He also had 60 yards rushing and a touchdown. Nothing was more impressive than the 3rd and 4 late in the game when he hurdled the defender and got that first down. Dawson Knox, 3 catches, buck 17 and a score. Emmanuel Sanders, 3 catches, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. Biggest stat of the game, Buffalo, 0 turnovers. KC had 4 turnovers. KC had time of possession. They had more first downs, had almost identical in yardage, less penalty yards. Buffalo had over 105 penalty yards on 10 penalties. Buffalo lost in every category except for where it counts, the scoreboard and the turnovers.
That's been the key for the Chiefs all year, the turnovers. And after the game, Patrick Mahomes actually said, I need to reevaluate things because I cost us the game, because 3 of those 4 turnovers were Mahomes, and they were all big turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs really could have won. It looked like a blowout, the final score, but a couple of things, if the Chiefs hadn't turned the ball over, and there was a penalty, a roughing the passer penalty that really changed the way the game was going too. So it looked like a bigger blowout than it was, but I still, people are freaking out about the Chiefs and they're done, and I don't think so at all. I think the Chiefs will come back. They'll come back strong. This might be something good for them because they've been reading their own press clippings for 3 years. They're the greatest team that ever got on the field, and blah blah blah. And they're learning that's not the case. And sometimes you've got to get woke up like that in a tough way. So I think the Chiefs team actually, in the end, is going to be very good, very strong. But that Buffalo team's for real.
Yeah.
The AFC Super Bowl team is going to have to go through Buffalo.
Amen, baby. And I get it. Everyone says this was a closer game than it looked, but I don't think so. I can't take credit away from Buffalo. On the road, in those conditions, just destroyed them. And I do agree with what you said, though. Kansas City's not done. They're 2-3 right now. I think they win 10 of their next 11 games.
I think
they'll end up
probably
being
right.
12-4 headed into the last week of the season, and they'll still win that division. No disrespect to what Herbert's doing with the Chargers. Of course, Denver, and don't even want to talk about Oakland because it's a sad time to
Oakland losing their coach now, Gruden.
Stupidest crap I've
Unbelievable.
ever seen. Oh yeah, Las Vegas.
Or Las
not
Vegas,
Oakland,
yeah.
but should go back to Oakland. Maybe there wouldn't be so much cancel culture, but just ludicrous to think for an email between what he thought was a friend of his in private, he sent it to this guy's work email.
Wow.
10 years ago, now cost him his job. It's because he doesn't like Roger Goodell. He doesn't like the crap the NFL's pulling, and he spoke up against it.
How many of us have done just absolutely stupid things 10 years ago, 15 years ago in our life, 5 years ago?
Last night while I was watching the game.
We've all done stupid stuff that could come back to haunt us. 10 years ago, emails, come on. It is getting ridiculous. But that's going to hurt the Raiders in a big way.
Oh, yeah.
Already has. They lost to, was it the Bears they lost to? Oh, my gosh. They're done. They're just,
that's a rough
throw
time
them on the scrap heap. They're done.
to be a Raider, and I've always loved John Gruden, whether it was in the Monday Night Football booth, whether it was with the Bucks, first time with the Raiders, or this time around. Just love the guy. I think it's unfortunate he made a mistake, but man, he's paying the ultimate price. So, all right, on to picks. Again, Chris is a champion, but for the first time this year.
Right, here's where we need to play that song from Queen, We Are the Champions. Because that's me, baby.
That's 4 weeks in a row you've either taken or had a share of first. But guess who made their first appearance of the season in the winner's circle?
You did.
With you and Andrew.
Wild
so
Will.
slide on over, boys.
That's right.
Man, what a good week, though. We both, you, me, and
Yep.
Andrew, go 13-3.
Where was Ricky?
We get 15 points. Well, Ricky, he let his daughter Ivy do his picks, apparently, because he went 7-9.
Wow.
Didn't get his money pick. He took the Broncos as his money pick. It was a rough week for him. He was in third place, was only down by about 2 points to the second place team. Dropped him down to fourth place, and he is 13 points away from you at first. Andrew's in second. You guys have an identical record, but you didn't miss any money picks, and you've also had one more win because Andrew's been there with you twice, won one by himself. So, man, it's close. I'm in third at 55, 6 points away from you, 4 from Andrew, and then again, man, poor Ricky. Poor
There were some great
Ricky.
games last week, too, that could have gone either way. You
Yeah,
know, I
if
mean,
you'd say if those 2 overtime games would have went differently again.
if I'd won those 2 overtime games the first week of the season, wow, I'd really be blowing you out.
I'm going to lose it. All right, we need a little comic relief. Funny story of the week. I didn't get to this
we didn't
one
do our picks.
a week ago.
You want to do your picks?
Oh, we better do it. Oh, yeah, we're going to run out of time. But, okay. Tampa Bay or Eagles?
I got Tampa.
I do too. Miami or
I
Jacksonville?
got Miami.
I got Jacksonville, so there's one we're
baby.
different in. Cincinnati and Detroit.
I took the Bengals.
I did too. Chicago and Green Bay?
Packers.
Me too. Texans or Colts?
I took the Colts.
I did too. Chiefs or Washington?
Chiefs.
As my money pick, I got the Chiefs.
Ooh.
Chargers or Ravens?
Ravens.
I got Chargers.
Ooh,
We're different
okay,
there.
There we go.
Rams or Giants?
Rams.
I got you there. Rams.
And that's my money pick.
Nice. Vikings or Panthers?
Panthers.
I got Vikings.
Ooh.
3 were different. Kirk Cousins is better than people give him credit
Yeah,
for.
he's a great guy.
Cardinals and Browns?
I took the Browns.
I got the Cardinals.
That's going to be a good game.
That will be a good game. Cowboys or the Patriots?
Cowboys.
I got the Cowgirls as well.
Did
Raiders.
you really? Wow, okay.
Raiders or the Broncos?
Broncos.
I got the Broncos. Seahawks or Steelers?
Steelers.
I got the Seahawks.
Ooh,
We're different in
good.
5.
Wow.
I love this. Bills at Tennessee.
Got to go with the Bills, right?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
So 5 different. Man, I have so much fun keeping up with these picks. And you guys, we have just enough time for me to tell this. It's
Okay,
too good not to tell.
Good.
All right, so funny story of the week. And really, this is something your grandma would have sent you when she first got email. And you'd see 100 of them, and you'd be like, Grandma, quit forwarding me these. So that's what you get each week on this segment.
Grandma.
Walter took his wife, Ethel, to the state fair every year. And every time he would say to her, Ethel, you know I'd love to go for a ride in that helicopter. But Ethel would always reply, I know that, Walter, but that helicopter ride is $50. And $50 is $50. So finally, they went to the fair, and Walter said to Ethel, Ethel, you know I'm 87 years old now. If I don't get to ride in that helicopter this year, I may never get the chance again. Once again, Ethel replied, Walter, you know that helicopter is $50, and $50 is $50. This time, the helicopter pilot overheard the couple's conversation and said, now listen, folks, I'll make a deal with you. I'll take both of you for a ride in my helicopter. If you can both stay quiet for the entire ride and not say a single word, I'm not going to charge you. But if you say just one word, it's $50. Walter and Ethel agreed, and up they went. The pilot performed all kinds of fancy moves and tricks and somersaults, and not a word was ever said by Walter or Ethel. The pilot did his best death-defying tricks over and over, but still, there wasn't as much as a word. When they finally landed, the pilot turned to Walter and said, wow, I've got to hand it to you. I did everything I could to get you to scream or to shout, but you didn't. I'm really impressed. Walter replied, well, to be honest, I almost said something when Ethel fell out, but you know, $50 is $50.
Ethel fell out.
How good is that?
That's really I like
bucks
that.
is
Hey, man. Oh, man.
That's
classic.
awesome. All right, big stuff coming up. Start Caverns Fall Festival this Saturday. It's going to be really cool, and they're doing some cool stuff for Halloween as well inside Start Caverns.
Yeah.
You have to check that out. Camdenton Parks and Recreation chili cook-off.
Oh.
So take some vino, go enjoy the day, and your spouse will pay the price later. Also, the 5th annual Crappie Tournament, Lake of the Ozarks, is happening this weekend. You can find out about these events with better details at funlake.com/events. Also, don't forget Sunday is the country music jamboree, that
Oh, yeah.
classic country music jamboree. We had Lynn Farrell on last week to talk about that. And outside of that, all kinds of great stuff happening on Lake TV.
We got Gary Pinkel on the Spotlight Show this week, former Mizzou football coach, talking about his great success. Wonderful stuff.
Best coach ever.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, and a great guest. So be sure to join us for the Spotlight Show. You can see that at 9, 3, and 7 every day, right here on Lake TV.
And of course, our game of the week will be in Versailles on Friday. COMC pregame show, 6:30. That's going to do it for this week. Big shout out to Jill, Daryl, her whole crew, our crew. They're just This guy's Chris. I'm Will. We'll see you next week.